Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into exactly why autonomous agentic wallets are absolutely the inevitable future of fintech, and more importantly, the massive technical hurdles product teams have to clear to actually build them. We are standing at a huge historic inflection point in digital finance right now, especially in hypergrowth regions. The systems we use to hold and transfer value, they're about to become highly intelligent and fully autonomous. But getting there, well, that requires navigating an absolute gauntlet of regulatory and security challenges. Okay, let's just dive right into this with a number that honestly stopped me in my tracks. A 1,550% surge in AI-driven deepfake fraud within the fintech sector. Just let that sink in for a second. Over 1,500%. This establishes the incredibly hostile environment these new autonomous wallets are entering. We aren't just talking about people guessing passwords anymore, right? We are talking about industrialized, automated cyber warfare targeting our digital ecosystems. So, to understand how we fight back, we'll navigate through the autonomous wallet revolution, the brutal compliance crucible, how meta-reasoning prevents failure loops, the need for deterministic rules, and finally, strict payloads for Snap APIs. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The autonomous wallet revolution. We really have to begin by examining a massive inflection point, and Indonesia is the perfect example. We're looking at a digital payments market estimated to hit $115.34 billion by 2025. Between 2017 and 2021 alone, their digital economy grew by an unprecedented 414%. Now, this sheer velocity of digital transactions, driven by everyone having a smartphone and standardized payment infra, is forcing a total paradigm shift. Human speed fraud reviews simply cannot keep up with this volume. To operate safely at this hyper-saturated scale, we literally have no choice but to move toward AI-powered autonomous wallets. Moving on to Section 2, the brutal compliance crucible. Step 1 of building these wallets is surviving the draconian regulatory environment set by bodies like Bank Indonesia and the OJK. Think of it as a super strict funnel. An unregistered wallet requires only basic credentials and caps balances at 2 million Indonesian rupiah. But to unlock the full ecosystem and bump that up to a 10 million rupiah balance, users have to graduate to a registered wallet. That means full eKYC validation. We're talking facial biometrics and matching against national databases. The real challenge for product managers here is autonomously pushing users through this funnel in seconds, maximizing verification accuracy while simultaneously minimizing drop-off rates. Not easy. Now, once that account is finally open, your primary enemy becomes on-device fraud, or ODF. This is nasty because it completely bypasses traditional back-end device fingerprinting checks. Why? Because the fraud is happening right there on the authorized hardware. The device ID, the IP address, the geolocation, they all perfectly match the legitimate user profile. It looks completely normal to the back-end. And the most destructive manifestation of this threat? Automated transfer systems, or ATS. These are Android banking Trojans that hijack the device through accessibility services while the user is completely, blissfully unaware. The malware projects a fake black screen overlay, making the phone look like it's just asleep on the desk. But meanwhile, it's autonomously navigating the wallet app in the background, reading UI nodes, injecting stolen PINs, and initiating high-value transfers. It's essentially a rogue autonomous agent actively fighting against your wallet. So this brings us to the core architectural problem for engineers building the next generation of fintech. How do your own autonomous AI agents survive a strict deterministic compliance audit while fighting off these incredibly sophisticated threats? Navigating highly regulated environments with probabilistic AI is kind of like trying to fit a fluid into a rigid square box. It just doesn't work out of the box. Which brings us to Section 3. Meta-reasoning prevents failure loops. To prevent your AI from getting stuck in catastrophic failure loops, like repeatedly calling failing tools or totally hallucinating solutions, the agent utilizes a closed-loop meta-reasoning architecture. First, you monitor performance metrics at every single reasoning step. Second, you evaluate that data to spot anomalies where the AI's behavior goes off the rails. And third is adaptive control, where you dynamically switch strategies the moment performance drops. Basically, this is how the AI recognizes, uh-oh, I'm failing, and pivots before causing a massive system error. And the payoff for building this is huge. We're talking about a 150.7% improved error recovery rate over baseline agents. Research actually shows that agents equipped with this exact meta-reasoning framework also see a 31.2% increase in task completion rates and a 24.7% improvement in decision quality. So meta-reasoning isn't just some nice-to-have feature. It is absolutely essential for keeping autonomous agents on track and resilient in real-world production environments. Let's look at Section 4. Deterministic rules for BI compliance. To align your AI engine with the compliance guardrails, you face a major strategic clash. You have the AI's fluid, probabilistic thinking on one side, versus the incredibly rigid, deterministic rules demanded by financial regulators like Bank Indonesia and OJK on the other. Look, regulators do not care if your AI is 95% sure a transaction is safe. They require a transaction monitoring system that applies complex, deterministic heuristic rules to flag suspicious activity in real time, instantly evaluating volume, velocity, and value. The AI has to operate strictly within these hard-coded boundaries, no exceptions. So, how do platforms bridge this gap? They translate complex AI risk scores into what we call smart friction. Instead of just a binary yes or no block, the AI applies targeted friction. If the fraud detection system flags a transfer, it pauses it. This is crucial because it breaks the cognitive momentum of a user who might be deep in a social engineering scam. If behavioral biometrics detect something weird, the system seamlessly escalates to a passive liveness facial scan. And this is genius, right? Because it instantly neutralizes that remote ATS malware we talked about. A remote attacker hiding behind a black screen cannot physically satisfy a live facial biometric challenge. Finally, Section 5. Strict payloads for Snap APIs. When you're interfacing with standardized national payment gateways, like Indonesia's Snap API, you simply cannot rely on the AI just generating open-ended text. We absolutely have to use strict payload serialization to force the autonomous agent to output an exact, rigid JSON schema. If the banking API requires specific fields like quantity and name, the AI must deliver exactly those fields in that exact format every single time. Otherwise, the transaction just fails outright. By enforcing what's known as the grammar pattern right in your code, you guarantee the AI's output conforms to those deterministic data formats required by financial APIs. Basically, you use a grammar-constrained logits processor, which is a fancy way of saying a filter that blocks invalid text token by token to physically prevent the large language model from generating anything outside the permitted schema. It forces a probabilistic model to behave completely deterministically, making sure your autonomous wallet can actually talk to national banking infrastructure without crashing. Plus, operating an autonomous wallet means you have to prove exactly what your agent did and why it did it. Generating an agent bill of materials, or ABOM, provides complete end-to-end provenance. It creates dual-signed receipts for both the agent's intent and its execution. It records any time the deterministic governance layer intercepts an action, and it logs any human override signatures. This ensures every single autonomous decision is fully traceable, which keeps you compliant with stringent local regulations and even massive frameworks like the EU AI Act. Okay, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. As we face this absolute polycrisis of AI-driven threats and intensifying regulations, how are you viewing your own compliance architecture? To survive and actually build the future of fintech, product teams have to stop viewing these brutal compliance hurdles as just some annoying regulatory tax. Instead, they need to be embraced as the very crucible that forges your core competitive differentiator. An autonomous wallet that can self-regulate, enforce strict payload schemas, and autonomously recover from failure loops, that won't just survive the gauntlet, it will completely define the future of digital finance. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.